Welcome to the Ball at All Costs podcast. We are back once again like the Renegade Master. The last time I said that, no one caught on to that reference. I hope people are a bit more wise and a bit more eclectic. Yeah?
I got it.
You got it? Yeah.
Showing out my age.
Yeah, me too. But music's timeless, right? Music is timeless, just like football. We are back once again. We have a special guest in the building once again. Branded merch on. I need to get myself one of those. So you can tell what time it is. The banner tells you what time it is. We're going to go around. We have our illustrious panel once again and our esteemed guest, Martyn Young of ESF Events. ESF Events, not ESF Football. So that tells the story in itself. So, Deji, how are you doing? Domination.
Yeah, I had a big weekend celebrating birthdays over the weekend, so that was good. So I'm a little bit worse for wear.
Sorry. Can you like, this is your wife's big birthday and you're just brushing the carpet. We know she listens and we all know her. Okay.
Yeah.
So
celebrating.
We're gonna sing. Should we sing?
Nah, there's no need for that. I'm celebrating the big old 4-0, mate. Honestly. So time is flying by.
Woman's age, Dej. Never say a woman's age.
And so, I've done it now. It's gone into the atmosphere. So there it is. And so I'm just nursing my way back from injury.
Okay. No one's going to feel sorry for you. You're out celebrating. No one's going to feel sorry for you.
Thank you.
How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. Nice, relaxing weekend as such. No football for me this weekend, really. It's been a good weekend. Enjoying the weather. And now we're back again. Start of the week, so good. We're here to bless another day. Let's go. Let's get it going, man. It's been a good week.
Okay, cool. And Isaac, Coach Dad, can you take coach out of your title now? You're no longer coaching.
I'm not ready to relinquish that title yet, But I'm good. Thanks. Wasn't quite a weekend, but no matches, no tournaments. So in effect, it was a lot less hectic. But we did link up as a team, and we played the whole rounders and cricket and
nice,
a few drinks. So yeah, it was nice weekend. Hit a few sixes. So not only a baller.
Well, listen, if you're talking about hitting sixes, the man to your right on the panel here, when we went to, funny enough, the ESF tournament, we played an interactive racket game. And someone's a sly cricketer here. Thought he was Viv Richards out here. So So talking about hitting sixes, you got to back that up, right?
Yeah. Well, the boundaries were for the kids, so it wasn't too difficult. But I'm taking it anyway.
Fair enough. And over to you, Martyn Young. Thank you for joining us, Martyn. Really appreciate you hopping on. It's the Ball at All Costs podcast. You are ESF Events. And welcome. How are you doing? How's your weekend been?
Thank you. Yeah, really good. Quiet weekend. This weekend recovering. We were busy the weekend before. We were over at St George's Park for the ESF Grand Finale, and launched ESF 26 last week as well. So it's been crazy busy, but quiet weekend last weekend to recover. But yeah, all good. Thanks. Happy to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Good. Well, I mean, as you started talking about it, let's do it. Let's go into it. The grand final. And before you go into the grand final, I don't know, you said you watched one of the tournament podcasts. I can't recall if we spoke about our pain over the last 3 years. Well, myself and Daniel, our sons have been beaten finalists 3 years on the trot.
At ESF.
Yes, at ESF, Butlins, Bognor Regis. Yes, I won't go into refereeing decisions in the last one. I won't do it. Did I say it? I won't do it. No.
I can claim to have won it also.
Yes.
I've been 4 years in a row and I've won it. Well, Kayla's won it once. There
you go. You got the big silver award.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you go to St George's Park then?
Yeah.
How'd you get on there?
We went. I think we finished third in the group when we went.
Yeah. Good. You had the whole experience.
Yeah, we've done everything. He's had the joys and the heartbreak and the tears and the laughter.
We're going to sort you out next year, Andrew. Don't worry. We'll get those rats inside.
Be careful, because what you promised now, I vowed never to go back. We said our children
Yeah.
had PTSD. Butlins, Bognor
we
Regis.
can make it happen. Don't worry.
So, Martyn, how was the grand final? Do you want to shout your winners first and foremost, and then we'll talk about?
Oh, I don't have a list actually with me, but yeah, no, it's great. It's one of those events. I mean, we really enjoy doing the Butlins events themselves. Are a real positive weekend, and you come away from. I mean, they're exhausting to run, but when you see, and you hear some of the kids' reaction to them all, it's fantastic. But the sort of grand finale at St George's Park is on a sort of different level. The kids, before they arrive, they've all seen sort of the national team and the Lionesses on YouTube, sort of staying at the facilities and playing there. So when they get there themselves, they're pretty much awestruck. But the weekend went really well. Yeah, it's a 2-day festival. Some of the girls' age groups on the Thursday, on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, all the boys or mixed teams came in, and a couple more of the girls' age groups as well. But it was great weekend. Went really well. Just about swerved the weather, and had 2 good days there. So we've been there about 12 years, I think, at St George's Park doing the grand finale. And in some ways, it's a bit of a challenging venue to use with that many teams because the restrictions on the venue with the national teams, and quite often you'll go in there and there'll be a pro team training and things. So staging a grassroots event alongside an elite facility like St George's Park is can be challenging at times. But it's every time you go there, as soon as you arrive, you're like, oh, it's just a great place to be, and a great experience for the kids who get to go there. It is a shame that it is just the winners, I have to say. It'd be nice if we could open it up a bit more, but it's for us, it's a great sort of addition to the ESF calendar, and it sort of ties everything together that everyone's sort of playing towards that. And we always want ESF to be for teams of all abilities, and that's the beauty of the Butlins side of things. Obviously, we attract some very strong grassroots teams, but equally, we have teams there who are there for a bit of fun at the end of the season, play some football, make the most of the facilities of Butlins, be away with their teammates and their families. So we're really trying to sort of involve everyone who wants to be involved in it. And then at the top of the cherry on the cake, if you like, is St George's Park for the ESF grand finale, and it was a really good weekend.
Brilliant. So that was going to be one of my questions. Actually, you did touch on it, because I guess one of the elements of ESF is the all-inclusive nature of the weekend, right? And this is what I've picked up on. And I think you did the speech at Butlins, Bognor Regis on May Day bank holiday weekend, where you kind of encourage everyone to have fun and just be courteous and kind to each other. And I think the whole tournament does have that vibe to it. But like you said, there are quite a few, I think this year more so than previous years, certainly for the under 10s, we found that it was very competitive and there were some good teams down there. And I know you do the fair play instead of goal difference, which I think helps. But it's a bit of an oxymoron, right? You've got this, on one hand, you've got this festival, nice, not too competitive, but not overly competitive. And then you've got the grand final, the winners of each regional event competing. So how do you find the balance? How does that work? Or is there no real balance because one is one thing and one is the other?
I think it is definitely a valid point, and it's something that's cropping up more and more as we go on. The setup of grassroots clubs around the country is changing, and you're seeing the introduction of sort of more coaching setups, if you like, and a lot of places referring to themselves using buzzwords like pro and elite and academy and things in their name. And then you have more traditional clubs from certain areas, if you like, who've been there for years and are set up with volunteers more. And there's definitely feedback we receive about that. It's probably, I mean, you guys will come across it, I would think, throughout the season as well. Oh, they're an academy player, these are academy teams. So we have sort of rules and guidelines in place whereby all the teams who are taking part must be a team who take part in a grassroots league throughout the season, unless they play in an area where they don't have grassroots leagues, which they do in different countries and things. And they must be affiliated to the county FA, and all players must be registered to them, with the exception of 2 guest players. So, but within that, you do get a huge range of abilities and different approaches, very much so, from coaches and from clubs as well, different ethoses within clubs. And it's kind of the beauty of ESF and the challenge as well. So we're bringing teams from all over the country together for a weekend. And some are small village teams, some are inner city teams, some are dead serious teams, some are there for a bit of fun. And the majority of the feedback is super positive. But obviously there's going to be times when the matchup doesn't suit somebody. And it's quite easy nowadays just to say everyone there's an academy player. We've had that a couple of times this year. And then when you look at it, you look at the team names. Yes, they're good teams, but they're playing in Surrey Junior League. They're playing in wherever it might be, sort of thing. So it's always going to be the atmosphere down at the pitch is whatever tone we set and whatever our guidelines are. And there's a big emphasis, as you say, on fair play, codes of conduct, and things like that nowadays. There's the coaches that lead and the people on the sideline that sort of set the tone for the weekend. And hopefully the message that we try and set gets across, and people are on their best behaviour when they're there. But with the sheer volume of people we're working with, there are going to be the odd one or two that take things perhaps a little bit too seriously. But as you say, it is set up, and there is something to play for at the end of it, which is quite a big reward. So I don't understand that people get a bit caught up in that. Yeah, we like it because it sort of links all of our events together. Perhaps the fact is that St George's Park causes a bit more of that, if you like. It used to be at Warwick University, which is a fantastic setup, but to come to St George's Park does matter to coaches, it does matter to parents and things as well. So yeah, it's a valid point that having that at the top there maybe makes things a bit more serious for some people. As you say, we have the fair play element, so we don't use goal difference, which is actually an FA directive to us. So they say you can't use that with youth football, which is fine. So because of the nature of our tournaments, we can't do penalty shootouts. So we're left with goal difference, which has actually been a real positive thing overall, because you can be great on the pitch, and we all know tournament football teams can take points off each other, and then it comes down to how you've behaved on the pitch and how your parents have behaved on the sideline. So there's a real implication of poor conduct having an impact on people at times. So we set the parameters out there, and then we hope it's going to be embraced by everyone, and we'll certainly encourage that. And then if not, we'll try and sort of chivvy them along and see if we can get them on board and deal with things in the best way you can. But overall, I think the atmosphere is pretty positive compared. That's the feedback we receive from people who are involved in grassroots leagues and things. When teams come to ESF, generally speaking, we have not all the times, but a good atmosphere at the pitches for people to enjoy.
Yeah, so I don't think we've experienced, and Dan, you pull me up if I'm forgetting something, but I think generally we've experienced a good atmosphere at the tournament pitch side. It does feel like a festival. You're away, you've got that element of all parents being together, your community, because afterwards you're not going off in your own cars and going home, you're actually going back, you're arranging where you're going to eat for dinner, what time you're going swimming, are you doing any activities, etc., etc. So it definitely gives a different feel to it. And I was dead against fair play. I'll be honest with you, when I came down there. We are that team, one of those teams, not an academy side, but a strong grassroots side. It's like, we're here to win. And yeah, we haven't won it, but I think we've enjoyed ourselves. And I think it did change the mindset of parents. It focused their mindset in a different way. It focused our mindset as well. On how we delivered our message to the boys. And I think generally we're pretty good, but I think that was a nice way to manage it. And I think as well, because you have teams coming from all over the country, like I've touched on this, and I think I touched on it in our tournament pod. I think the team name was Oakfield. I think they were from Isle of Wight. And they came and they competitive, but their main thing was fair play. Like literally, they found my son on day 2 after we'd played them, and they made sure they gave him a certificate for being man of the match. And I just thought that was amazing. I've never seen that anywhere, and maybe that's just credit to them, or maybe they embody the spirit of the tournament, because like you say, you have teams that come from all over. They were from Isle of Wight. We had a team that we played in the semi-final from Liverpool. So there's a lot of miles difference between those two. So I think it's really good that you can harness that kind of environment. And I know you do other things as well, such as, and I want you to talk about these things as well, if possible, like your magic moment. I think it's the best team, and I think you have another award. And I don't think and maybe this is on deliberate, but you don't necessarily give them to the best teams over the weekend, i.e. the teams that are winning or winning the groups, etc. I think you try and share it around. Is that fair to say, or is there, am I reading that wrong?
No, absolutely. I mean, there is a player of the tournament rule trophy award, which is designed to pick out a real standout child, one boy and one girl at each tournament. But we then have the Magic Moment Awards in every age group, and that can be anything. It can be a great bit of skill, by a keeper or by an outfield player, an amazing save, or it can be just incredible sportsmanship that has been picked up over the weekend. So that's designed for everyone to be able to go for it, if you like. And it's one of those, we do, as you'll know, having been there, these huge presentation ceremonies to close the festivals, where we take over one of the big venues in Butlins, put on the best possible show we can for the kids, and have special guests come down. And I think those individual awards, when you see the parents when their child comes up, it's quite a big moment, and they're nice ways to finish the weekend. So, but yes, the Fair Play Award itself, there's extra trophies and medals available for the Fair Play winners in each age group. Magic Moment Awards, we're trying to make all children, well, every team, to be honest, the presentations come up on stage, and there's trophies for every child, and they meet the special guests. So you're trying, it is a balancing act. You're trying to put on something that is the highest percentage of people who are there get the most from, essentially. So we'll often get teams say to us, we should be playing quarterfinals, we should be playing last 16, but the impact of that is that the teams who don't qualify for the knockouts have to play less football, because of the maximum amounts of football that the FA stipulate over a weekend tournament like ours. So the decisions we're making might not be logical to one team at a time, but they're made thinking about how can we provide the best possible experience to the highest number of children who are there for the weekend, essentially.
Awesome.
And that's what it's all about. In terms of who wins the event, this is going to sound weird, but who wins the tournaments is almost, it's irrelevant to us, really, which team they are. You just want people to come away, have a great time, the tournaments to go well, teams to play well on the pitch, obviously. But it doesn't matter to us which teams win it. Obviously, we're neutral in it all, although some of our local clubs do come in it, and that side of things isn't too important to us, as long as the football itself goes well and people enjoy it.
Yeah. Awesome. Martyn, look, it's just a pleasure to finally get you here, and unfortunately I'm going to use you as an opportunity to throw both Andrew and Dan under the bus. Quite simply, why I'm throwing them under the bus is they'll be like, oh, by the way, on the 8th of May, we won't be here because we're going to be at the ESF tournament. And the thing is, they're telling me with a week's notice, which means I can't, one, get my son over there, and two, we can't register a team because it's far too late. So the fact that I've had the opportunity now to meet you means that hopefully if our grassroots managers watching this, please register our local grassroots club's interest. But I have two questions for you this evening, because I am called the Bundler. That is my nickname because I like to bundle questions. The first one is, look, brilliant idea. How and why? Why ESF? Why are you doing this? It makes sense. It's awesome. I wish I had been part of it. I wish I had planned to be part of it. But where did this dream come from? And then lastly, well, the second question is also, how many events do you hold across the year?
So it started, ESF is a family business. We're based in Melton Mowbray. I'm one of 4 sons, and when we grew up we were all sports mad, literally sports mad. So our mum and dad's for 20 years essentially were ferrying us around to various sporting activities multiple times a week, as you'll all know as parents. So we played for Mowbray Rangers in Melton Mowbray, all 4 of us. My dad was on the committee, and he was tasked with organising a tour for the club in this is going back to 1988, and he organised a trip to Butlins, Bognor Regis, and about 200 people from Mowbray Rangers piled on the coaches, went down there for an Easter break, and they arranged some friendlies against some local clubs, Bognor Regis Town, Feltham Colts, those sort of local grassroots clubs, and it went really well. I think initially they were looking at going to Holland and things like that, but it was cost prohibitive, so they were trying to come up with something a bit creative to get as many involved as possible. And when he was down there, the guy who had helped him out Butlins sorting it, sort of involved with the groups, if you like, said to him, "Oh, it's gone really well, Alan. Why don't you could run a little tournament down here?" So the next year, he said, yeah, we'll try it on certain dates. He sent some invitations out to grassroots teams around the country, and they had 3,500 people there at Butlins Bognor Regis the next year, 120 teams. Wow. And my dad he loves organising stuff. He loves organising parties or charity dues or fundraisers for schools or whatever it is. So he sort of latched onto this. And the next year he thought, oh, right, I'll go to another Butlins. He went to the one up in, it used to be a Butlins in Ayr, it's now a Haven. Or he went to a Pontins in the southwest, and I think there was another venue in the south, in the northwest as well. Sent some more invitations out, and there were 8,000 people there and 400 teams or something along those lines. So it grew and grew. And at that point, obviously, the reason they live in Melton Mowbray is that he had a job with one of the main employers, who still is Pedigree Pet Foods and the Mars Group. So he was working with them, doing well. And I like taking this decision. It was really brave. He's got 4 kids, and he decided to leave his job and do that full time with the support of my mum, Lucille, as well. And it just grew from there. And I think it was an idea that no one was doing really at the time. There were a lot of European trips around. You can tour to Scandinavia, go to Holland, whatever, down to Spain. But being at Butlins was, more, obviously it's more affordable for UK teams. It's a safe environment for kids to go down to. And it just gave a real positive experience for everyone. And it was a great product they were able to expand. And so they did that for 10 or so years, and I think my dad was coming to the end of his patience with it, and my brother and I were both finishing university. Actually, my brother Russell and I run it now with another brother, Lloyd, so 3 of us are involved running it, along with friends of ours as well, 3 friends who work in the office with us. But yeah, so in about 2000 he was getting fatigued with it. Russell, my older brother, was working for Leicester City at the time, and he was talking about, do I end it? Do I sell it? And Russ said, let us come in and help you out for a year or two, see how it goes. And that was sort of 25 years ago. And that year or two has dragged on a bit. So we're still there today doing it. And fundamentally, it's the same product. Obviously, it's changed a lot over the years, but it's the same thing that they started with. It's a weekend away with your teammates and your family there to support as well. I think that was the other big difference. The European trips were very much 3 coaches and 15 lads go away on tour, essentially, whereas the big picture of this was bring the families as well, bring the supporters on the sideline. So that made it a little bit different. And it sort of, we came in, it sort of grew. We don't do more events. We actually do less events than we used to, but we do much bigger events now. So it switched in its the way they were organised. Whereas it used to be, let's take over, say, 1,500, 2,000 beds from Butlins. It became, let's take over the whole centre. Let's take Butlins Bognor Regis with 5,000 people. And I remember the first year we did that, it was sort of terrifying, the sort of figures you had to commit to as a small company to guarantee Butlins. But it went really well, and you could see the benefits and how the event was, taking over the whole centre. So everyone there is there for the football weekend. So it grew from there, and now it's sort of, we're doing 10 services, is it, with Butlins now? Do a couple with Haven, and in about 12 or 13 years ago, we started looking at what other sports could we potentially do as well. And so the obvious one was rugby union, because it has a strong touring culture. We're based in Leicestershire. We approached Leicester Tigers, started the Tigers Challenge, which is a similar sort of product. And that's gone really well for us. We have about sort of close to 400 rugby union teams that come over with us every year, sort of to Butlins Bognor Regis and Butlins Minehead. Same concept, take over the centre for a weekend. Wow. A Butlins venue full of rugby union teams. And then my dad's
got different drinking culture, haven't they?
Oh, the on-site spend is ridiculous. Yeah, Butlins love it. And they're not necessarily your typical Butlins clientele as well. So we're bringing sort of a different audience to Butlins. The car park's full of Range Rovers and whatnot. So,
they're Butlins rivals, really, aren't they? That's where they usually go. Butlins rivals would be Centre Parks,
Centre Parks, yeah. And then my dad said one day, well, why aren't we doing rugby league as well? And that was tough to get off the ground. So we wrote, because it was so successful. We're football people, sort of, and we're not rugby experts. So we said, if we get Leicester Tigers on board, that gives it the credibility, and sort of, they sort of taught us the sort of ethos, if you like, of the club, and the ethos of rugby union, because it's quite a different sport in many ways to football, and the way clubs are structured and organised in the community, it's very different to football teams. Then we thought we'd give rugby league a try, and we couldn't get anyone to bite. They're like, no one will do it, and we approached Leeds Rhinos, and thankfully on the 3rd time they responded to us. and we got in touch with Leeds Rhinos. We started the Rhinos Challenge in Skegness, because rugby league is a northern sport, and that's now our fastest selling event of the year. So we have 2 events now back to back in Skegness. So we have about 12,000 people who come to that for rugby league. Same concept again, different audience again, and and the newest one we've gone into is netball as well. So we launched Leeds Rhinos. Then they have a netball team who are in the Super League of Netball, which they got the franchise for that about 4 or 5 years ago. So that's been a natural thing to add in. So we had about 85 netball teams away with us at Skegness this year, and we're expanding that next year to a new date in Minehead, where we'll have a Rhinos Challenge netball weekender down there as well. And that's so that's how it started. And over the years, there have obviously been quite a lot of changes in it, but the ultimate goal is to try and provide the best possible experience for the children and their families who come away, one that they'll remember, like a sporting occasion that they'll remember for years to come. I sort of think about, I have a terrible memory, which really winds my parents up. So I can't remember my childhood pretty much. I can't remember much about school, but the things I can remember are like the school trips we went on with my friends. And we used to go on these tours and play in them at Bognor Regis, and you remember silly bits and bobs, somebody getting up to mischief, and as you'll know, you bump into your old teammates. That's the beauty of grassroots football, because it's a community that if you're still in the area, you'll bump into people who you played football with 25 years ago, and you can catch up like that, and the stories come out. So I think that's what we think at its best ESF is. It's providing an experience that the young children who are there will, one of the real memories of their childhood, hopefully, will be that experience of being away with their teammates, being away with their coaches, being away with their families. And you sort of mentioned it a bit earlier, where when you play grassroots football week in, week out, you're at training for a couple of hours, once, twice a week. You go to the game, you disappear. What people don't quite understand is when you go away on tour with us or with anyone else, it's that everyone away together, and that's can be a risky thing, because you get to find out a lot about the people who you're with. But you've got the kids bonding, but you've also got the adults as well bonding across, and people getting to know each other. And I think that's a big part of the experience that grassroots clubs really value, and that's why we get a lot of clubs who come back year after year, and who are not necessarily the same teams, because it is quite expensive to do. So some will take a year off and do fundraising and things, but generally there's a lot of repeat custom and a lot of clubs who sort of value the experience, if you like, who come back with us. I'm really sorry, I can't remember the second part of the question.
No, you can't.
Gondola. See what happens.
You answered it. I mean, the question was, how many events do you hold? But now,
how many do we do? Yeah,
but so expand in your sport.
Yeah, so gradually, because the models sort of work so well. So when we do a new event with Butlins now, we don't mix with non-ESF guests with Butlins guests, because it's not great for either, to be honest, the experience. So gradually over the years, we've built the number of events we're doing. We've actually got a new event now next year in Minehead as well. So we do, of the Butlins centres, we do Skegness on the East Coast in Lincolnshire, where we'll do 2 football festivals a year, one in April, one in May. Each of them will have about 200 grassroots teams. They'll be in the mixed age groups, they're from under 7s to under 12s, and in the girls' age groups, they're from under 9s to under 14s. And then Bognor Regis on the south coast in West Sussex, we do 2 weekends there. They're both in May. And in Minehead, historically, we've just had 1 weekend in Minehead in Somerset, but next year there was such demand for Minehead last year, so we went to Butlins and said, look, we're turning a lot of teams away here. What do you think? So we've got a second event in Minehead next year as well, which is really quite exciting. We can expand there, get more teams in. And then we do 2 events up in Scotland in Haven, Craigtar and Ayr. So slightly different tournaments, because they're SYFA regulated events. So the whole tournament there has to be non-competitive, which is unlike, obviously, the setup in England. So they're more friendly festivals, which is what teams from Scotland are used to. But equally, we get teams from England and Northern Ireland coming across for that, which again takes that ethos in a different direction. You're always going to get competition with football, but it potentially takes the heat out of it a little bit without that big trophies to play for at the end sort of situation.
Yeah, awesome. No, Martyn, thank you. I'm going to hand over to my learned friend OC, but just to say, just the numbers that you're dealing with on a weekend is mad. Like, if you could have been with 12,000 people, that is a logistical nightmare, and I'll get into that probably later on, but I'm just going to hand over to OC.
Thank you. Do you know what? My team, every year we tend to think that we're going to be League Cup champions. So we don't fill out the application because it tends to compromise dates. But we never win the tournament anyway, so probably should have come down to you. But I think you've touched on it already. But I know maybe 4 or 5 teams that attend quite regularly, and they always say that is the best weekend. That's the best experience that they've had across the season. So my question is, one, are you aware of that type of feedback? And what is the magic behind ESF? How do you create that type of experience and atmosphere?
You can, I think you can lose sight of it, especially being behind the scenes, because you all know as sort of grassroots coaches and whatnot, there's all the hassle that goes into running it, and it's stressful running big events, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes to try and deliver them in the right way. And sometimes you do it, if it doesn't quite go right, it does bog you down a bit, but then occasionally you hear bits of feedback that sort of matter quite a lot. And there's been a couple of, Faye White, ex-Lioness, 100 plus caps for England, she's been one of our special guests for the girls teams over the years, and her son's team played in it this year up in Skegness. And she called me on the Monday straight afterwards, and I was like, oh, it's Monday after the events, bank holiday. What's gone wrong? And it was like she was calling to say, I've just got to tell you this, what an unbelievable experience is. I've been coming for years as a special guest to give out the awards and seen the presentation side of things, but I've never seen what the children see across the weekend. And I've just seen it as a parent for my child. And yeah, she was full of praise for it. So that was really nice to hear. We had the guy who is now the resort director at Butlins Bognor Regis, who's worked there for years at Butlins, and is somebody who we've worked with in the entertainments department as side of it as well. So he's seen it when things are going wrong, when trophies aren't where they're supposed to be, when special guests are running late, and the sort of the panic, if you like, behind the scenes that we hope everyone else in front of the on the other side of the curtain doesn't see. And he came away from it on the weekend. He said, "You just won't believe the experience that we've just had and my child's just had." So we don't see the 8 hours of setting up the stage for the presentation. We see the 45 minutes in there and the kids sort of bamboozled by the lights and the big stage and everything. And the he was commenting on like the app with all the fixtures and the results coming in. So I think everything, what we try and do with ESF is just trying to elevate it a bit beyond what grassroots teams normally experience, if you like, where we can anyway. So presentation wise, trophy wise, everything that we've got control of, we're trying to probably take inspiration from the obvious places like the Premier League by big sports brands and things. So what are they doing with their trophies and things that's a bit ahead of time? Let's do that for a while. Look at, what are the London Marathon doing for their medals and things, and try and just elevate everything to give the kids a better experience. And just little things, I say the little things like, I've spent a bit of time in nightclubs and seen all the lasers in nightclubs, and you're like, wow, I wonder if we could bring lasers to the ESF presentation ceremonies. And that's worked brilliantly over the last 2 years. So we work with a laser company who come in and do laser light shows at the presentations to create the atmosphere, which has gone down really well. So you're thinking about touches like that just try and elevate things for grassroots teams putting on a professional event. But ultimately, it's still grassroots football, obviously, and we're playing at grassroots venues, but just trying to really make it an experience that's one that everyone appreciates as much as we can.
Yes, okay. Yeah, that's good to hear, because just going away with your team and the family and having that experience obviously is going to be a great sort of environment and experience for the players and parents alike. But it is those small things, it's the small little touches that make a big difference. So the fact that you are keen and obviously aware of those aspects, for that. Sorry?
I was going to say, going back a few years, we used to do a music event at Butlins, which was an electronic dance music event called the Bugged Out Weekender. And sort of headliners at the time were people like Chemical Brothers and Disclosure and things like that. And the company we worked with, Bugged Out on it, that was what they were incredible at, the small details. And I'd be sitting there thinking, why are we bothering with these little touches? What are we doing? Let's focus on the big stuff. And then you get there across the weekend and see the little bits they've done and the impact those little bits have. Not on everybody, obviously, but they're the bits that people remember. They're the bits that they share on social media and things. So, where you can, where you've got the time, we're quite lucky we've got budget to do most stuff. If we like the idea of it, we'll find a way of doing it. And because of the volume that we're ordering for anything, we get good rates on things, so we can normally push things beyond what's normally available for grassroots sport and things. So yeah, bits like that, keep it fresh. If we just churned out the same thing every year, it wouldn't be what it is, if you like, and people would just get bored of it. So within the limits, we're trying to, if we see something we like, we'll say, is there a way we can bring that in? Can we do this and that? And try and improve things each year.
And so it is about little things, but the big thing, something that I want to touch on, is the special guests that you have, because at the end you tend to have a famous athlete, be it Jermaine Defoe or Paul Merson. When did that come in? I take it that didn't come in 1989. How did you sort of build
it came in early. Yeah, it did. And going back, I don't know whether it was there in the first year, but certainly in the early years they were doing it. And we had George Best down in Bognor Regis.
Oh, wow.
And back then it was a different time. Obviously, pro players are on a different level nowadays, just because of the money that they earn and the protection they've got from agents, and that there's that separation from just from reality, really, isn't it? But back then they didn't have all that, so it's crazy, really. They'd come and do the presentation, but they'd also do coaching sessions out on the green at Butlins. So you'd have like George Best doing a coaching session with the kids, and that doesn't happen nowadays, obviously. But that's quite an interesting difference between the different sports, actually. So football now is, and I understand it as well, we're a business, obviously, so these people are coming for it's a commercial agreement with them, so we have to pay them well in order to come. I think a lot of people assume they're coming for free because it's grassroots, but whilst we're a grassroots event, we're a commercial company, so quite rightly we have to pay them quite a significant amount to be there. And they're there all day, meeting 2,000 people, if you like. And there's a lot of people who won't do it. It's not as easy as you think to get people to come down and do it. So people say, why don't you pick this person, pick that person? And so you're trying to find somebody. You're also trying to find a balance of who can react well with the kids, who's popular, because that matters. So if you're using ex-pros, who is somebody that people see in a positive light, if you like. So John Barnes, Stuart Pearce's, and people like that are always, Paul Merson. There's people view them affectionately, I'd say. So they always go down quite well. And can they speak on the mic as well? So we've occasionally had new players, current players, who we thought would be amazing. And the kids know them instantly and love it. The parents don't know who they are and complain about who we've got there who couldn't speak on the mic. So it is a tricky one, and it gets trickier each year because of the finances of what people can earn elsewhere, if you like, and how much they've got in their bank already. But you see such a difference across our different sports. So when you go to rugby league, obviously where the sport itself is, the link to the community is so much stronger, and they value that community. They know the importance of the community. So the players who come down there are coming for the weekend, and they're like, can we have a free holiday and bring our family down with it? And they don't take a fee for it. And they're there all weekend. They're having breakfast in the restaurant. All the kids are running around, going and sitting, having photos with them while they're eating their breakfast at Butlins, and they're at the pitches. But it's a different sport, obviously, different time. But it's, I think whoever we're always grateful for the people who come down and give up their weekend to do it, because a lot of people won't do it. And there've been some who haven't worked quite so well as others over the years, of course. But we've had some, really great names, and generally speaking, they're really nice people. If they've agreed to do it, they're nice people who are there, and they're willing to give up the time and sort of do the best they can while they're there. So no, but it was brilliant. You mentioned Jermaine Defoe this year. It's first year he's done it for us. We had Emmanuel Petit this year, first time as well. Super positive, absolutely loved it. He runs a youth tournament himself in France as well, so was really interested in the whole thing. We had Ashley Williams over in Minehead, which was great because we got loads of Welsh teams down in Minehead, so that was a great atmosphere. Jordan Nobbs came, and Sue Smith again, who's now known more for her commentary on computer games, I think, than her footballing prowess. All the kids react to that. Yeah, and Faye White. And then up in Scotland, we get obviously, we do quite well for Scottish players up there. They're always quite keen to get involved. So we had Scott Brown this year up there. I'm trying to think who the other one was, but it's always quite late in the day, the special guests as well. So it can be quite nerve-wracking. You can be there 3 days before and you haven't got a special guest still at times.
Really?
Yeah. So, and you get late changes as well. So I won't name anyone, but you'll get some people who you go to check in the day before and they've forgotten and they're in Singapore rather than planning to come down. And we had, I remember we had Robert Perez for 2 years. To Robert Perez, was like a super great guy. He came down and did it, and got a call from him. He was running late and he couldn't work out where we were. And he's like, I'm in Dover. And we're like, what are you doing in Dover? You're supposed to be in Bognor Regis. And the driver had taken him to Dover rather than Bognor. And you're like,
wow.
So bits and bobs like that go on, but it's a nice extra. I think with the people we work with, it's often the coaches who know them more, but what you'll find is the kids then go back and sort of YouTube them, get all the clips of them, and get to know who they are there. But you try and get people who are still maybe doing TV work and things so they can sort of follow up with them afterwards.
Yeah, I thought JD was a great one. I thought he was a great support this year. And just, I know, Dan, you've got a question, but just on the JD and on the special guest side of it, the number of kids they have to spud as they come up on stage and still smile and have that energy. And we were one of the last sets of boys, and he had the same energy that he started with and the same body language. And I just thought, you know what, fair play. Yes, you're getting paid, but at the end of the day, these are all kids who know who you are, who probably want a picture, want to have a little chat, and you've still got to have the presence of mind to have that energy and try and be like reciprocate their energy as they come up. So I thought he did really well this year.
He was really good. And sort of you knew obviously before and after we speak a bit with their agents and things. And so he absolutely loves doing kids events and supporting it. And noticed he was commentating the under 21s and things, wasn't he? As tournament was going on in Albania and stuff, which is good. But no, he's a great guest and still looks like a footballer, doesn't he? And
JD can still
that always helps when you've got somebody who looks, still in shape, still looking good. And you're right, he was great. You can just see some people are at ease speaking to coaches because it's quite quick. You're on stage with a lot of teams to get through. It's not a huge amount of time there, but just get a little moment to have a little comment with people. It does make a big difference. We hope we're getting back. Yeah.
I tried to take a photo. I was told I couldn't, but
no selfies. No
selfie.
Yeah. That's about. I spent about 6 hours on the Sunday there, killing dreams of people by telling them they can't have selfies. Not time.
Not enough time. Yeah. Dan, sorry, I stole your thunder. Jump in.
Thank you. You're welcome. So, Martyn, I'm going to have to say, obviously, we've spoke about this on previous pods. Like, ESF for me, just forget my son, for me, is probably one of the best tournaments I've been to. Like, I actually enjoy the build up to going there. Like, you kind of annoy us, though, as parents. We're on the app looking, waiting, who's in our group, what times the kickoff and stuff like that. And that's
quite late, isn't it?
This is a true story, by the way, Martyn. Yeah. Dan called me and said, do you know this team? We're researching teams. Sorry, Dan, but it's a true story.
And I think that's one of the good things about anticipation, not knowing who you're going to be there. And you get there and you actually, teams we played against in the weekend are actually in our group and stuff like that. And it's really good. So I'm going to say, look, for me, as a parent, I've loved it for 1 year out of 4. I've loved it, but I've enjoyed the other 3 as well. But for me, one question I want to ask is, what is next? Or what possibly could be next for ESF in terms of the next level? What comes with that? That's one. I'm doing all my questions at once, Martyn, because I don't talk much here. They take it away from me all the time. What I'm gonna say, Martyn, as a parent, and I think we have this, there's never enough space or rooms when we get there. That's one thing.
Accommodation.
Yeah, accommodation. There's always an issue, and we parents. I know one of the parents turned up this year, and the room was being double booked. I know it's not you guys, ESF or such, but they're like, we know you have rule there. If you're not on site or part of the Butlins place, you should be taking part in the tournament. I think that's one of the issues as parents we've come across. And the other question you took away from me, because my son goes up to me, Dad, who is that? Who is that player? But obviously it comes with cost and the I guess the exclusiveness of the players today is difficult to get those.
To get current players.
Yeah. I think I get it. I know a few players myself that probably wouldn't come to Butlins because it's too below the level of expectation and stuff. So I get that bit. But yeah, my main question, I guess, is what is next? What's the next stage? Where can you go with ESF that you've not done so far?
With ESF, with the company, do you mean, or with the ESF football
tournament? The actual football tournament itself.
Football tournaments, yeah. There's no. I I think over the years, as a company, we've tried lots of different businesses and lots of different things. And to be honest, we've come back to almost just like, this is what we do, and we do really well, if you like. So there's not a set thing we would say we would be doing differently, but each year we'll look at things. Can we do something a bit better? Can we, there's bits we've already picked up that can be improved, and they're quite small details on the presentation side of things. But really, it would just be, I think we might see more. Can we bring a bit more football back to Butlins? That's something we'd quite like to do. And we see that with the Leeds Rhinos challenge when they do that, where they have the players there and they do Q&As up in the Skyline Pavilion and things. So can we bring a bit more football back to the Butlins side of things? That said, there's so much to do at Butlins that a lot of the kids don't want to be sort of occupied with that. But yeah, no, I'm really pleased that you've enjoyed the experience as a parent. The double booking should never happen. I'd question whether you've been given incorrect information there by your parent, because Butlins are pretty slick in terms of their management systems, obviously. Yeah. And what we do with them, how it works, rather we tap into their resources, if you like. So we'll try not to change too much from a week-to-week basis what they're used to doing, because they're delivering breaks for 6,000 people every week. Normally, when something like that happens, it's more to do with the fact the parent hasn't paid the final balance or something like that, and their accommodation unit was cancelled a few weeks ago, and that does happen. But then they'll go out and tell other people that, they've cancelled my unit, and it's become a problem there. But Butlins are an absolutely brilliant company to work with, and they're really behind the scenes. They're really good people, and their long-term vision for the resorts, with more and more investment going in. It's the sort of place we want to be. There's nowhere else like it, to be honest. There's nowhere else that you can accommodate that many people in like a safe place with entertainment and facilities. And you guys have been to Bognor, so you've seen all the development that's been going on in recent years with the new swimming pool. It's like a £40 million swimming pool, three hotels on resorts, so they're gradually upgrading all the accommodation. The new, I don't know whether you went into the Play Experience.
Play Experience was a great addition. By the way,
brilliant,
great addition.
Yeah.
So I hate the arcade, and I hate that dopamine for the kids, and I thought the Play Experience was great.
It is really good, isn't it? Yeah. So that side of things is only going to get better, sort of as they go on, and it's a great place for us to be, and it's like a key part of the event. So we get invited to do a lot of events by a lot of facilities, but we're a relatively small company. We're kind of focused in on doing what we're doing with ESF really well as we can. We have expanded a bit. Have you seen what we've done with the All-Star Super Cup? Have you seen?
I've seen it. I've seen it advertised.
Yeah. So some of the feedback we got by doing the ESF Grand Finale at St George's Park. So for those of you who don't know, if you win your tournament at Butlins, essentially you get invited to the ESF Grand Finale, and you'll play against the winners from all the different tournaments at Butlins. But obviously, a lot of teams then don't get the opportunity to play at St George's Park. And a couple of years ago, St George's Park, the FA came to us and said, would you be interested in doing more grassroots events at St George's Park? Which is great that they came to us and asked that. So we've created the All-Star Super Cup, which is a standalone event in August, which teams can register for. Again, it's not cheap. I can't shy away from that, because we're hiring facilities like St George's Park. The whole place is blocked off for us. And the Hilton Hotel there for teams who want to stay, which is the hotel where the England players stay, obviously. But that then has created the opportunity for grassroots teams to come and play there in a one-day festival. And again, it's open to teams of all abilities. So that's quite exciting. The FA, there's talk of do we do more events there going forward, but there's no mad plans to do anything too crazy, other than just continually sort of develop what we're doing at ESF. And it's a big thing for us. We're taking on an extra date at Minehead. That's it's 6,000 extra beds for us, essentially, that we've got to fill next year. So that's just steady growth and steady progression. You've probably noticed this is a bit contentious. We've actually reduced the age groups on offer at our events. So now we only go up to under 12s, whereas historically, if you went back, we used to go to under 16s. And it's a shame to say it, but it's just the conduct of some of the older teams has a big negative impact on the other people who are staying there at Butlins Resorts. And Butlins Resorts really are designed to hit sort of, well, newborns up to 12 years old. So gradually the events have sort of reduced in age range there down to those age groups. But we find the atmosphere is better over the weekend, and people generally have a better experience, and it fits better with that audience. So we know if we wanted to go out there and do a tournament of 13s, 14s, 15s, we'd have hundreds of teams coming away, but really it doesn't really fit with our model there. So yeah, so going forward, just continue to do the events as well as we can. Hopefully get good support. I mean, our numbers are, I think, do you remember, like, you go back a few years and there was all this talk of kids they're not interested in sport, numbers are down, you see headlines in the papers, numbers are down. We don't see that. Like, we see huge demand for the events across grassroots football. If anything, it seems to be growing. Like, there's more and more teams who want to come. I don't know if that's a COVID impact where, like, people missed out for a while, and
that's us plugging your event. That's what it is on our podcast.
I was just going to echo that, because Martyn, you might have seen my head just looking slightly to my right a couple of times, and I messaged a couple of people about you and the fact that we've got you on tonight, and everyone's messaged back saying, we've already registered, but we're on the waiting list. And I was like, bloody hell, how many teams are on the waiting list? Yes, there's a waiting list, and how does what do they have to almost pay their dues before they're able to register?
It's crazy, isn't it? So we launched ESF 26 last week, and within 24 hours, 2 of the events were at capacity, which is insane, isn't it? Which is 200 teams.
Say that again, please. Say that again. We're going to need some smashing glass, Toby.
Yeah. No, we launched ESF 26, the tournament calendar, last week, and within 24 hours, 2 of the tournaments were at their capacity of 200 teams. Now, not every team will, because we have a 2-stage booking. So you can do a provisional booking where you hold a place free of charge for 7 days, and then you have to register, which is when you pay the sort of registration fee. So that's like your commitment. So there will be some spaces coming back on, and we've got teams, as you say, on a waiting list. So we'll notify all them to say more spaces there, let's get in. But it shows you the demand that's there. And I suppose a good example is we're looking at it. So last week was our first week of sales for 2026. I looked back at the last 2 years, so 24 and 23, the highest number of teams we've had register across all of our events. This is football, rugby union, rugby league, and netball. The highest week we'd had is something like 267 teams, and last week we had over 500. So it shows the appetite for it is there, which is brilliant. And that's you can't please everyone at the events, and you know what it's like when it doesn't go your way. Quite often it's with people who make a lot of noise, and that can sort of knock your confidence a bit. But then when you see that sort of volume of people who are waiting to go as soon as you launch, and we're a bit late launching because we had a lot of other stuff going on behind the scenes, so I think it's got people sort of chomping at the bit to get booked in. So that's it's been a busy week, but it's been a good week in that regard. So
that's absolutely brilliant. Honestly, it's brilliant. And why I'm glad that you've come on, Martyn, is because a lot of people, right, like you said, when it doesn't go their way, or they've had a little bit of a bad experience, they often think, do you know what, they don't care, they're just taking money, it's just they don't care who wins, or they favor this side. And actually, I think what you've shown and what I've picked up on is you care so much about not just the brand, not just the tournament, but the people attending the tournament, the parents and the kids. And I think that's important, because I think that's what genuine feedback and word of mouth then happens, right? And you then sell out 2 events on the first weekend because Deji's heard about it. Deji's trying to get his grassroots side down there, and others, because organically, myself and Dan have spoken about this tournament over the last 3 years, just to people when we speak about tournaments, when we speak about end of season tournaments going away. And we're not on commission. We didn't know you before today, apart from obviously our email exchange, but we didn't know you. And we've spoken about this tournament glowingly, and to the point where my son's team has changed over the years, had different managers, and we've still come. Not won it. You need to sort us out there, but yeah, we've come back. So I think that's testament to yourself, your brothers, your dad, your mum, and the family and your 3 friends that work in the office as well.
And can I just echo that? I just wanted to echo that because I I've known Andrew for years, but we've become closer, I would say in the last year, and the same with Dan. But I've never seen my peers so excited for a grassroots football tournament. I've never seen anything quite like it. These guys were literally losing sleep. You know what I mean? They were staying up all night. They packed their vehicles 3 days before they left, that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? But genuinely, jokes aside, they were infused. They were ready. They were like looking forward, and I felt like I was missing out on a big thing. And I'm the more you talk, Martyn, the more I'm realizing I've been missing out, and I've got bones to pick with these two lads after this.
You were in a cup final.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, and I agree with Osi on that. Like, it really does fall smack bang at the tail end.
To be fair, this was the first year that it actually fell on that tournament weekend, on the final weekend. Previously, the bank holiday one has always avoided the Echo final.
This year it didn't. No, the one we went to this year, the tournament was a different day. The final.
Yeah, I think the difficulty is
it was a different
leagues play on
yeah
finals on different weekends down there around the country, and we get it quite a lot. Obviously, we're approaching the event. Oh, we've made it to the semis. You booked in with us. We've made it. What if we win and we get to the final? So quite often we're doing things behind. And this is sometimes why the app's going live late, because we're having to move teams around. It's like, they can no longer make it on the May Day. We get you there the weekend after. We'll squeeze you in. I'll use my referee's accommodation. You're in. Referees will worry about you next week. It's so a lot of that happens, and there's a lot of chopping and changing, obviously, behind the scenes with teams. But I think yes, there is that clash with end of season, but that's kind of the time to go. You've had your season together, but there is that clash with final fixtures. It can happen over certain weekends. The reason they're not later, if you like, it's if you go to Springbank holiday, it's just absolutely prime for Butlins. They do their family breaks, so you're limited as to what weekends you can put them in there. But it does work as a sort of end of season sort of trip, apart from those who have got a clash with cup finals. But we had a team last year who, from the West Midlands, they were playing in our Minehead tournament, and they got into the cup final. They couldn't move the timing of it, so they travelled down to Minehead on the Friday. We arranged one game on the Friday night, because fortunately one of the local teams were in their group. They played Friday night. They played 3 games or 2 games Saturday morning, and then they drove. And we had those games earlier than normal. I think they kicked off at like 8:30 or something, and almost played back to back. Drove back for their cup final Saturday afternoon. Drove back down after the cup final to Butlins on the Sunday, and had the last night together. So you can, and that's if we can schedule around it, if we can do things, we'll do what we can to sort of accommodate teams. But logistically it's a bit of a nightmare sometimes. But it's really great to hear sort of your guys' experience of it, and you can feel it, obviously. And I myself, I tend to work the presentations on the Sunday, because it's quite nice to stand there and just sort of shake the hands of the coach, say thanks, hope you've enjoyed it, and you can tell it's we've had a great time, the kids have loved it. You can feel that it's it's an experience that the vast majority do value, and it does matter to us. You're dead right. And do you know Grassroots Football UK, who are based in the northeast? Yeah. You're familiar with GRF, yeah. And Paul from Grassroots, we've sort of worked alongside them for quite a few years now. And he comes down, he brought his daughter's team this year to Skegness. He says, what I absolutely love is seeing your dad, because my dad comes over to watch them. He's getting on a bit, but he comes over to watch me. He says, the presentations, he's the most excited man in the room. And he can't contain himself. He's like whipping up the crowd, clapping. Really? And it's a bit of an embarrassment, but it does mean a lot. He's the foundation. This doesn't happen. Yeah, the reason he sort of had to step away a bit is because he couldn't. It means so much to him. He couldn't take it when people were saying negative things about it, and it became less enjoyable for him, if you like. So we try and keep him away from the events now, and he's like he's an honorary van driver for 6 weeks for us, going around the country delivering things to different venues, and then he comes in to see the presentations. But they're still very much around, and they're in the office, sort of listening to what's going on. But it was a great sort of brave move by him, a great thing. And it's we must be coming up to 2 million people who've come away to the ESF events now over the years, which is incredible. And we're seeing what we really like as well, is seeing cycles. So coaches now coming through with their team who played in it when they were younger, And then
Dan,
you
do
hear
you think our
something.
sons will be that? Sorry, Martin. Do you think our sons will do that?
No.
No
The
chance.
trauma.
Your sons will be going back as speakers since they'll be pro footballers.
There you go.
There
There
we
you
They'll be
go.
going back, but actually maybe without speaking for them on this channel, you know, maybe they'll go back and they'll do it for free. You know, why not?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. If Martin sorts us out next year, then maybe. No. Brilliant. But
We'll
listen,
bang like
Martin.
carrots.
I've got one question, Martin. Is there a boy that graced the wonderful ground and pictures of ESF that you've gone on to see on TV and you think, you know, that you remember him from ESF and you go, you see why he's there now?
There's one. And you're about to see him. Yeah. He's called JJ Gabriel. He's at Man United.
Yes.
He's 14, I believe, playing for the under 18s.
Yeah, I know him.
And so we keep a track of him. So JJ played for Global. Do you know Global?
Yeah, Global, North London.
Yeah.
We played them 2 weeks ago in a tournament.
Did you? Yeah. I mean, they're great. They've come for years. But there was a crop of kids they had for a couple of years that were just sort of next level. And it was when JJ was coming to them, and he was always playing up a year. So I think he won under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, won 3 years on the bounce, playing up a year. And this is incredible. He'd be at the finale, and all the other kids in the room knew who he was. And he'd be going around doing like 1,000 kick-ups just on the sideline sort of thing. And I think he'd attracted quite a lot of interest already. So he'd got some YouTube videos that had 1 million followers, and you were just like, he was so good. Like the whole team were brilliant, to be fair, but he was so good technically at a young age that you were like, if he doesn't, it's who does sort of thing. It's he had that much talent, and he's doing really well by all accounts at Man United, and hopefully going to break through. But we've got a ton of photos with him holding ESF trophies for the day he does. But you see loads of really. I mean, I don't get to see that much of the football nowadays, to be honest with you, because I'm busy doing the other side of things. But it's always at the finale. It's always great, and quite often the strongest age groups you see are the under 7s and under 8s, because it's before the kids have gone off to the pro clubs. The sort of levels nowadays, the sort of technique and the ability of these kids compared to 10 years ago, it's like a different game. It's like they're playing basketball with their feet. The skills they've all got. It's it's crazy.
Make you right.
But him, he just had a star quality about him from being a young kid. So we don't actually track kids who've gone on to pro games. I wish we did a bit, because there must be so many who've played over the years, and then went on to the pro game.
Brilliant. So some quick fire questions, because we're running a bit long. So this is sports. So do you have a rival, or do you think you're out on your own?
No, there's other companies doing similar things to us. Yeah, absolutely. So there's probably half a dozen companies. No one as sort of big as we are, if you like, and they're often smaller events, but they do a lot of events. But yeah, there's plenty of companies who are doing sort of touring events around the UK and around Europe, obviously, as well.
Okay. And
how
do you feel? No, I don't expect you to name rivals. Keep the money here. How has social media, because you touched on it with just now about YouTube, but how have you used social media to your advantage, and how have you seen that change over the years for ESF?
In honesty, not as much as we should. No. So it's definitely an area we can improve on in terms of doing. I mean, we get most of our interest now comes through social media, and one thing we did a few years ago. So there used to be the photography of the events used to be based on selling photos. How many photos of kids in a team can you sell, and then you get commission for it. Yeah. And then we were looking at it like, why are we doing this? Like, they can take a team photo at the field anytime they want to. So we started bringing in like top photographers who were sort of doing Premier League games and things to capture amazing photography of kids. So we've got assets like that go across social media, and they look amazing when you see the photos and capturing the experience. But we could do more social media wise. But what we do is we partner with Grassroots Football UK, who often do like event takeovers. So they'll come to Skegness. They came to Bognor this year on the second weekend, and they're posted. They've got such high traction that just floods people into us after they see the footage on their settings. But yeah, we can do more, definitely.
Okay. And I saw, I don't know if it was a challenge. I'm not the biggest on social media or the greatest, but I saw a kind of, and this may just have happened organically, a kind of a trend where kids would kind of be walking in their teams, and then someone put up I think it was a Costa coffee cup, and there were other coffee cups available, and they kind of capture them in there, and obviously the edit, and then they empty them out at ESF. Was that something? Was that a challenge you did? Was that Grassroots Football UK? Was that just organic?
That was a mum of a team who did it, who we need to employ. It was great, wasn't it? It was done brilliantly.
So, yeah.
All the music behind it, slick editing. Yeah, it was, and everyone loved it. So the amount of likes and shares that got was crazy. But Grassroots, when they come down and do they're doing video footage, it would be like, check out this incredible tackle, the competitiveness, and it'd be like 1 million views, 2 million views, 2.5 million, 3 million. It's getting huge traction for little clips. But and I guess that's it. A lot of people are almost doing the marketing for us through the social media, because we all know people like to show off their best life, if you like. And so a lot, our marketing budget is relatively low, I would say, because a lot of the time it's word of mouth spreading and social media sort of organically happening from teams. So we know that's happening. So we'll cleverly put photo walls in the Skyline Pavilion so people can take their photos up against it with our logos in the background and share them and things. So going forward, social media is huge. I mean, it's locking down the way the platforms work nowadays. It's becoming more and more that you have to pay to get reach with sponsorship and things. But even so, it's sort of direct access. And we've got a big program, because we've got the new events happening in Minehead this year. We've got quite a big marketing campaign lined up for social media, sort of sizzle reels going out with all the action to try and attract some new people to the event next year.
Oh, brilliant. And you made 1 second, sorry, Isaac. Sorry, Isaac. Isaac coached that. I'm reading OC. I don't know if you're familiar, but I think you were on TalkSport. I think Majestic, one of the DJs, I think he's on Kiss as well, but he's one of the hosts on there. His son played in the tournament, and I think they won it, and he was speaking highly about the tournament. I did try and get him on. So Majestic, if you're listening, you should have been on today with Martyn, so get back to us.
They won I did say it, they won the grand finale last weekend, didn't they, at St George's Park? Yeah,
there you go. So
he missed his work shift to be at St George's Park with us. Yeah,
there you go. He gave you a shout on TalkSport.
Yeah, that's great.
Good.
So you've touched on it across the podcast, just in terms of the volume of teams that are coming down and things of that nature. But I'm just trying to get an understanding of the scale of the operation, because you said that you put out dates for next year. I'm trying to, is it like a full-time endeavor, or is it like a quiet period, or is it just you're literally busy with ESF like all year round?
Yeah. There's 6 of us full-time doing it now. Back in the day, it used to be you do the events, you'd pretty much have the summer off, which was amazing. But it's the sales season has come earlier and earlier, and we do some extra events now in the summer as well. So the quieter times are probably sort of November, December, January. But it's since the events, it's been absolutely flat out, and we're on the go, working to capacity. It feels like most days, if you like, to get it all done. There's not enough hours in the day, and but there's ways as a business, we've got a new booking system that's just come in that's going to modernize the way we work, which has been a bit of a nightmare this week with glitches and whatnot as we launched it. But going forward, that will free up man hours for us to hopefully focus on social media and things a bit better and stuff along those lines. So, but it is, it's a proper, I think people just think we work 3 months of the year, but it's a proper all year round job, because we're an event organizer, but we're a tour operator. So essentially we're filling beds and doing all the logistics of the accommodation side of things as well. And then you've got the event logistics. So the first half of the year up until Christmas is pretty much sales and marketing and dealing with, working with customers, getting accommodation bookings sorted. And then once we get to sort of December, January, it switches into logistics of the events for the next year. So site visits, multiple site visits a year, meeting with councils, holiday centres, venues we hire and things like that to bring it all into line, pitch markers. But it is a lot. It is a lot. I think people, I don't know, think people just think these tournaments just happen sometimes, but there's a lot that goes into them, and there's so much that happens late on as well.
Yeah.
That sometimes you arrive at the events exhausted because there's so much going on to get ready to get to an event, and then you get there and you've got to show up and run an event as well. And
Yes.
then the really challenging thing for us is the events are in a really short space of time, so they're April and May. So I could be in Bognor with you guys on May Day bank holiday weekend last year. We've got Skegness happening at the same time with 6,000 people. We've got Minehead with a Tigers Challenge rugby union event with 6,000 people, and a football tournament going on in Ayr with sort of 2,000 people. So, and then the next week we've got to go again because we're at Bognor for ESF football and Skegness for Rhinos Challenge rugby. So getting through that period is a challenge, definitely. But as soon as it finishes, you think you'd feel this relief. We've done it, and then it's like, right, we've got to get ready for the finale. We've got to get. But hopefully the quieter times are coming soon. Enjoy the late summer, but we'll. It's good to be busy though. It's good. Yeah.
And just a quick one. So with the referees, do you have like a local pool of referees that you use, or do you get them on site and pay? I assume they're not paying for accommodation and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's a national pool. So we have an ESF mail list, and it's referees who come from all over the country and stay with us for the weekend. So we provide the accommodation for them and meals, and then we pay them a match fee to be there for the weekend. But we also do work with local referees as well. So especially down in Bognor Regis, there's a really good pool of referees through the Sussex referee division. But the vast majority are touring refs who come from all over, and that's quite nice. It's an end of season tour for them as well. And you'll see a lot of the same groups who come sort of year after year. And do the best they can. They don't always please everyone, but I think we all know the challenges of getting referees to games in grassroots football, or more and more so. It can be quite difficult, but actually, again, we see really good numbers. So every tournament will have 60, 65 refs, 70 refs sort of thing, which is quite a big number to get together. And then people tell us we've got to have linesmen for 9-a-side, and you're like, oh, that's another 50 we've got to find if you want linos on the.
Of course, yeah.
As well, so yeah, you have to be sort of realistic with it. But we're really grateful to the refs who come away with us and sort of buy into it and buy into that ethos, and because it makes a big difference to the coaches and the kids how the referees manage the games, obviously.
Definitely does. And to be fair, apart from the final, well, I have my own grievances. I wouldn't say we were robbed.
You were robbed, Andrew. Yeah.
We were robbed. You were talking about mirroring the Premier League. I think we need VAR, Martin.
VAR. Yeah.
Not that I believe
we do have it with parents on their phones. I've got the evidence. The ball was out.
I bet you do. Yeah. No, in all seriousness. So I have a few more questions. I know we're running a bit long, but I have a few more questions if you'd be so kind. Just give us an idea, if you can, of your biggest challenge. The biggest challenge you've had. You're talking about things changing. What's the biggest challenge that people probably don't realize on a successful tournament?
Well, I'd say the biggest challenge we've had as a company is a bit of a no-brainer was COVID. Yes. Because we lost, the lockdowns happened over April and May in both years. So we lost 2 years of trading as a company. So we lost everything because that's where we make all of our earnings for the year. So we had no income at all for 2 years. And if it had gone on a third year, I think we might not be here, essentially. So that was, in a weird way, it wasn't that stressful because we couldn't do anything about it. So you just had to deal with it. But the lockdowns came in late. So we were like, are the events going to happen? Are they not? Customers were rightly sort of concerned about it. So the phones were being flooded with people. Is it happening? We don't want to come. We want our money back. And that's where you saw what a great company Butlins were, because they were said straight away, no, we're refunding everyone. We'll give all the money back. And not every tour operator did. So we were sort of proud the way we came out of it, that we did the right thing by everyone. And then came back, and it was a challenging first year back, I have to say, after all that. But going forward, I think it's just it's the challenge of making sure that everything's in the right place at the right time. And there are times where you feel like you're spinning plates a little bit, and if one drops, what's the impact of it?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know about it until late on. So it could be something as simple as you've got a line marker booked who didn't mark the lines, the grass cutting didn't happen, despite all your pre-arrangements. And that's when it's good to have a big team of people around you and have a lot of support locally at the events. And that's what our events do as well, which people won't see, is they sort of generate large funds for the local clubs as well who host the events. And they matter to them and to the schools that we hire and sort of those sort of places. So when things go wrong, you've got a lot of people on your side as well. And the towns where they're based know. We had it in Minehead where there was a situation where the litter wasn't collected and there was sequels got to it and there's rubbish everywhere. And obviously the Facebook groups were going, we shouldn't have ESF, we shouldn't have it. And then all of a sudden you see everyone standing up for what ESF is for Minehead, for the town, because their kids have played through it. And their kids typically only play against teams from Somerset, and then once a year they get to play against teams from all over the country, and the club raise a lot of funds for the year, which are really valuable sort of thing. So the fact that it and we're able to get as many sort of local kids in, as in real local kids from Bognor Regis and from Minehead and from Skegness into the tournaments over the years, that's a nice part of it as well, and you get good support from the local area. Keeping Butlins happy is a big challenge to make sure that there are events that they want to stage. So that's a key focus for us. What do we do to make sure these are events that Butlins want to have? Which is why you see so much emphasis on codes of conduct and things while you're there. But the feedback from them is super positive about it as well. They know we're bringing new people to their resorts each year who wouldn't necessarily go to Butlins. It's a chance for them to show off their resorts and create a good name for themselves. So
it's brilliant.
So I don't know whether I answered the question there. I just waffled on a bit.
No. Listen, it's all interesting stuff. It's interesting for me. I don't care about the listeners at this point. It's interesting for me because I run events and I can resonate with what you're saying in terms of when you said things, you said something of the nature of things. You drop a ball or plate and you don't realize until afterwards because maybe someone's covered for you or something else has happened and you picked up later on. I understand that because you are doing so much and you're doing multiple events across the same weekend. That's going to happen. So I totally get that. I just one question. I have two more questions. Hopefully the panel are done with their questions, so we'll let you go. One question I have is we've spoken about on ESF, Ballatallcost, of running our own football tournament. So if you had one piece of advice for us to help us not match your tournament, it's going to be different to your tournament, but what would be the one piece of advice you would give us if we were starting up our tournament next summer? What would it be?
And is it residential or is it more
not
of a
residential,
local tournament?
Just
local
tournament.
Get plenty of volunteers on hand or people around who can help out. It's always tricky to get the numbers there to support. Get more. We always get more than we think we need, essentially, because people fall away. I think you've got to drive the ethos from the top of what you want it to be. So, do you want this to be a tournament for better teams? So make people aware of that for high level teams. Do you want it to be an event for teams of all abilities? I'm saying that it's quite difficult because ours is actually an open tournament. We don't have tiers and things, but certainly in one day, more local tournaments, you can do something and you can have formats that work that keep people involved for as long as possible. So that those that don't go through to the final stages, maybe you could possibly do like plates and shields and things like that to keep them involved.
I've seen that a lot.
And I think just when you're running it, just make sure it's very visible that it's something that you want to do and it's a positive thing for everyone to be there. And like appreciate everyone coming, which we really do. Like we all know how much effort coaches put in throughout the year to run teams. So to give up their weekends and come away, and they're not really, because I know this is what coaches want to do, but you have to be grateful for the extra time that people take to put into bring their team to your event. Have a realistic schedule. So allow yourselves, make sure you can keep on time. I think that's one of the big feedback things we have where we do run.
You're always on time.
Most tournaments aren't, but our guys are locked in and the referees are. We've got to kick off on time. We can't have people hanging around if the weather's not good and things like that. So I think just create a really welcoming environment for children to play as well as they can on the pitch and make it clear what your level is so that you don't get people sort of shocked when they get there as much as you can.
Brilliant.
And, do the best you can.
Right,
you guys who love the game, so it's gonna, the energy is gonna be positive when you're there, and I know not everyone does, but most people love tournament days and things. It's a good.
Deji
It's
doesn't,
a good way
to be honest with you. He
I
doesn't
know.
really.
I saw it. I saw this. He's been very positive today, though. I appreciate it.
He has been best behavior. So this is the last question we ask all our guests. If you can think of one guest that we haven't had on that we should have on, who would that be? And before you answer, you've got to help us get that person on or people.
Oh, have I?
On.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
Can I flip it and say who is the guest that you know we have links to who you would like us to get on?
The
clothes, face.
Yeah.
Yeah, any sort of celebrity sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think what you guys do is like it's real, isn't it? You are grassroots people. So yes, obviously it'd be amazing to get Jermaine Defoe on here or someone like that, but getting people that are part of the community, part of the grassroots community on here, speaking about it from experience, as long as they're interesting people to speak to, sort of thing, and they've got something to tell that's of interest to you guys, it's great. It keeps it relevant, doesn't it? Having said that, if you can get a sort of pro player who's had a grassroots experience, because a lot of pro players haven't nowadays. Obviously, they're in pro clubs from a very young age, aren't they? So yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Maybe I'll come back to you, but anybody
I'm
else?
thinking the grassroots, your colleague that helped you out, the grassroots. You said, is it GRF? Yeah, Paul.
Yeah, Paul would be great. Yeah, because his story is really great, and we've seen him grow over the last, I guess it's 10 years now, where Paul's a grassroots coach. His son played, he coached his son's team, he now coaches his daughter's team, and he had an idea to create a grassroots community on Facebook, which is when it started, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, it was more basic, if you like, and but it was representing grassroots football, and it's grown and grown. He's got a huge following of like coaches and parents of football, and we've done quite a bit of advertising with media agencies and things over the years. But you don't see traction like you see when you do something with Paul, because his audience are genuine audience. People only got 200,000, 300,000, I think, followers on Facebook and things like that nowadays. But the amazing thing about his business is it's gone from that to, so he used to post about, what the FA updates are, or the FA have got this, got that. Now the FA go to him to do the post for him. So he's becoming like the voice of grassroots for the FA.
Wow.
And also he's seen the corporate side of things go crazy for him. So because of the platform he's got and the following he's got, whereas at the start it was companies like us, and now it's MasterCard and UEFA all coming to him, sort of big brands, sort of, and he's kept it all real as well. So he's he's a good guy. He loves grassroots football. He's so passionate about it, and he loves the sort of the business. He deserves to, the success he's had with it all. And he's got his own brand with a lot of gear being sold. So he'd be a brilliant guest. I could definitely see if he's available for you. I'm sure he would do as well. So yeah, a good person to speak to get some tips as you guys grow as well with the show, because obviously it's relatively new.
Yes,
well, by all accounts. Yeah,
Trying
should be able to help with following as well. So yeah,
that'd be amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, brilliant. That would be perfect. So Martyn, it's been a pleasure. I know it's been long. This is what happens. We have genuine conversations, and we're genuinely interested, and we think parents more so. And some of the players are genuinely interested in what people like yourself have to say. So we just keep the conversation flowing. So apologies for running longer than
it's a good sign, because I looked at the clock and had no idea we've been speaking for an hour. So it's that's a good sign. It is a good sign. Good evening. Appreciate you inviting us on.
Brilliant. So do you just want to share your socials? Tell everybody when ESF 26 is and when your other events are, if they or just direct them to a place where they can see it?
Yeah, sure. So full details on the website, esf.co.uk or allstarsupercup.co.uk for the St George's Park event. And on those social platforms, if you just search ESF football, you'll find us. But you can request details there. All the tournaments for next year are up online. They all take place throughout April and May. And yeah, get in touch if you're interested.
Okay, brilliant. And I haven't looked it up, but I just had a thought, and you can pay me later. But your 12 to 16-year-olds or 13 to 16-year-olds, maybe you can just have a tournament at the All-Star Cup at St George's just for them if they're missing out on the whole ESF experience. Pay me later, Martyn.
there is a logistical challenge with that as well, but I'll yeah.
Okay.
talk to you another time with you.
All right, brilliant. Listen, guys, if you've enjoyed this conversation and previous conversations such as this, we're getting big time guests on. We've got one of the CEOs of the ESF tournament, the biggest tournament in the UK, one of the biggest event companies in Europe. I believe I can say that with chest. Martyn's joined us today. We've had Fit for Football on. We've had big guests coming on. She Plays Football is on next week. I'm letting you behind the curtain, guys. So help us to grow. Please subscribe. Please like. Please share. Please leave comments. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. That's it, Dan. There, everywhere. Notifications. I still don't know where they are, but it doesn't matter. Guys, I think you get the point. The subscribers are growing, but we want to be as big as ESF. So please hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much, guys. And until next week, we are Ballatallcost and we are out.